everything to catch up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our Facebook for questions. If you have any questions.
Definitely.
Any questions? You may hear some background noise with our podcast people only because we're trying to get to the comment section. All right. So our Facebook people, any questions?
Hit us up. Let us know. It could be about PPP, EIDL. It's tax time, so hit us with some tax questions.
Yeah, we open up for Q&A because we typically don't do this because we do a podcast right next to this. But if you're tuning in with us on Facebook, we're going to answer some questions. If you were denied the first time, apply. If you were denied, apply. If you try to do it on your own, find someone that's an expert in that field that can get your documents together, help you get your documents together. Because here's the thing, and this is what I realize a lot of people do. You're not going to, don't let your pennies count your dollars. And this is what I mean by that. If, for instance, if your car broke down, and you were in the middle of nowhere, and you didn't know how to fix your car, who you gonna take it to? You're not gonna fix it. So who you gonna take it to?
Who you taking it to?
A mechanic.
Yeah.
You're gonna take it to a mechanic.
Of course.
Because a mechanic knows how to work on cars. This is where people go wrong. Mm-hmm. You try to treat taxes and accounting as if you're a mechanic.
But I can Google it though.
You can. And you're going to get Google results. Mm-hmm. Where you're going to be sitting for hours trying to find out everything we're talking about.
Because you know what? Google doesn't have experience, people. Right? Like, it's a melting pot of information. Okay? And so if that's going to be your resource, then it's on you. It's your responsibility to parcel out that information. And that's super difficult to do.
Well, it's almost like you try to go get educated on Google University because YouTube and Google has flooded the industry with a whole bunch of information. You have all the information in the world. But this is what they don't do. They don't teach you how to use the information.
Right. They don't teach application.
People always say knowledge is power. That is the furthest from the truth applied knowledge is power.
Yeah. Knowledge is potential power.
Well, but potential, I mean, I about to say potential, I mean shit. I mean, how you saw potential energy just sit there?
Just sit there?
It's like having when you see your kids and they go out and they eat all this sugar and you say, sit down. And they sit in one spot and
they can't stop moving.
But it is going nowhere fast.
But it's going nowhere. Right,
yeah.
right.
So that's what a lot of people do. They get stagnant and then you go into what's called research overload. Mm-hmm. Meaning that you get too much information so you don't take any action.
Yep.
Happens all the time. All right, so with that being said, let's get back into some more of the PPP. So those were the big changes, and that's how you can qualify for it. What I recommend you do, we're going to do this last one. This is for nonprofits. Now, if you're a nonprofit, this is what you have to have to get the PPP. Number one, of course, again, license, voided check. If you're a nonprofit, you should have a bank account.
You should have a bank account.
Now, with that being said, let's go to the next one. You have to have your bank statements. See, this is all pretty much the same.
It's the same.
Same, but it's some slight changes. This last one is your 990 form. Now, here's the thing about your 990. Your 990 form for a nonprofit is typically informational only. If you made less than a certain amount of money, you're just sending that in as information because you're a nonprofit, meaning that you don't make profits. But you do have to fill out a 990 form because that's how you report that you are a nonprofit still in business.
Nonprofit. And still operating
exactly
as a nonprofit, right?
And you still have to have a 940 because you have employees too in a nonprofit. People think that nonprofits don't make money, and that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Man, my time at the food bank showed me so much about the nonprofit game. It's deep, man.
I get it.
It's deep. Oh, I know you do.
You know I come from that world.
Yeah, I know you do. It's deep, man. Like, yeah. Don't be surprised if I pop out here.
With a nonprofit. A non-for-profit doesn't mean that you don't make money. It just simply means that you don't make profits.
That's it.
You can make $3 million, but not make any profit.
And when you remember when Jeff Bezos, he came out and he paid some horrifically low number in taxes, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody was just up in arms. I'm like, it's just, I get it, people are just ignorant, but it's all about what you know, and it's all about strategy, and it's about application of that strategy. Right?
Absolutely.
Efficiently at that. Man, the more you know, the more you grow. That's all I'm gonna say.
And the more you get around people that know more than you, the more you grow, because you can't know everything.
You can't, man.
I want and that's what we was talking about earlier with the Google stuff. It's no way possible for your mind to know and consume everything and be everything to everyone.
Yep. You can't.
You can't know everything. So what I'm getting at with you is I need for you to understand that get around people that know more than you so that you can grow more. All right, so we're done with the PPP. We're going to transition into the EIDL. Now, I want to make this clear because some people have been confused about the EIDL. And let me back up 1 second. Mm-hmm. The PPP can be forgiven.
Yep.
If you pay it out again in your payroll and the other stuff that it counts for. But it can be forgiven. Because it was a lot of people saying, well, I don't want to get a loan. I don't want to get a loan. Well, it's called a loan, but it's a forgivable loan.
It's a forgivable loan, people. This is different than you mustering up the courage to go Bank of America and ask for $50,000. This is different than that. This is the federal government saying, hey, we've got money in our coffers. We're going to distribute it to our small businesses. Here are the guidelines,
and that's it.
And that's it.
You got to meet the guidelines.
And you just got to meet the guidelines.
All right. So next, we are going to discuss the EIDL. Now, I want you all to understand something about the EIDL. There's also a loan portion to it, and there was a grant portion to it. The grant portion has closed, and it hasn't opened back up yet. But this is the thing about those programs. Tomorrow or Friday, the House is supposed to vote on the next stimulus package. So my prediction based on the way that the SBA is rolling stuff out, because I'm on like their email list and I go to their webinars and all that. My prediction is that they're going to release the EIDL grant portion again to people in what's called rural areas. And let me post a map to our Facebook people, because right now you can go to the SBA.gov website and find out if you'll qualify if your area qualifies for you to get the EIDL grant portion. The grant portion is up to $10,000. That $10,000 is determined based on how many employees you have. So if you got 2 employees, that's $2,000.
That's $2,000.
And an employee is you and the person that you employ. Also, part of that 10K part, if you are a sole proprietor like myself and you have contractors that work for you, you could qualify for that $10K.
Yep.
And that $10K is a grant, meaning that you don't have to pay it back.
Period.
Now, what they're doing first is they are actually opening it up or allowing for you to go look up what's called the EIDL Rural Map Tracker.
Yeah.
Where you can type in your address and you can find out if the area you live in will qualify you for the grant portion, because they're going to roll it out slower. Mm-hmm. My prediction is that they're going to open this back up either Friday, if the House passes the stimulus bill, but they've already passed a second stimulus 2 months ago. This will be a third stimulus.
This will be the third stimulus, people.
This will be the third stimulus. So I'm not talking about the stimulus where you get it in a check. I mean, in your personal, where you get a personal stimulus. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about adding $10,000 to your company in the form of a grant. So that's number one. The second part of the EIDL, you got anything you want to add, Josh?
No. You can keep going, Doc.
Okay. The second part of the EIDL is actually a loan. Now, I want to tell you all this. You would never, ever find, I'm going to say this again. You would never be able to get rates and terms like this on almost no loans, because I'm going to tell you the terms of the loan. The loan itself, you can get as much money as you need based on your credit score and based on your business revenues and all. It's a formula. I'm not going go into too deep into it. But the terms for this, 3.75% percent for your loan interest. Fixed.
Fixed, people. Fixed. So that means in 5 years, when the economy is fluctuating again, that percentage is the same.
It don't change.
All 5 years.
Next, if you're a nonprofit, 2.75% interest. Fixed. I want y'all to keep going with me. The term for this is 30 years. You got 30 years to pay it back.
30 years to pay it back.
So if they give you $20K, based on those terms, you'll probably be paying around $80 a month for the next 30 years. Where are you going to find term? That's
First of all, what? What? Okay, and let me add, I really don't even want to tell y'all this because it's going, I'm not. And I'm not going to tell you when it expires. I'm not going to tell you when they're closing the EIDL. Just go apply. That's all I'm gonna say.
Go do it. And I really want people to have access to this level of funding because, like we said in the beginning, it's not gonna come back around again like this.
It's not.
This is the time for you to tap into accessing this cash flow for future rainy days because COVID is not gonna be here forever. This may be the last year where we deal with a lot of the first stages of it.
Yeah.
Because America was behind. We had a terrible, terrible job the last 12 months at really, really looking at COVID because of leadership. Now, going forward, I can't say we're turning around because I would be disingenuous. We're getting a lot better than what we did before. Our response is. So this is not going to be around forever.
Nope.
So you really want to, go ahead and get this money. Get this money. I'm going to say it again. You either go ahead and get this money.
Because this is on a first come, first served basis. This isn't, where I guess it's just allocated for you. No, like these funds will run out.
Yeah.
Right?
You got 14 days. Hey, finna talk directly to black people. Black people.
Black people.
People of color. Specifically black people. Specifically black people. I said specifically. Specifically black people.
Black women, y'all own the most black businesses.
Go and get this money. Go get this money. Now, I'm going to say this. It's a whole bunch of scammers getting this money.
Yep.
They ain't afraid. They ain't saying like, ooh, I hope. No, if you've been in business, go get this money.
Man, so listen. So the requirements, if you've been in business prior to February 15th, 2020, right? So that's a whole year. If you've been in business for longer than a year, you're eligible. Applicants who have already submitted their applications, your applications are being processed as we speak.
Yep.
Again, on that first come, first served basis, right? Businesses with 500 or fewer employees, as defined by the SBA, you're eligible. Cooperatives with 500 or fewer employees, agricultural enterprises with 500 or fewer employees, private nonprofits, churches, faith-based organizations. Again, sole proprietorships and independent contract. Look, people, that almost sounds like everybody, don't it?
Please go get this money. Please go get this money. And I'm going to post a map link so that you can go look up. So it's just perks to follow us on social media. Yep. I'm going to say that because they get some stuff right now that you typically got to, pay for. Or pay to learn how to use it. Mm-hmm. All right, so they get the map. So you click on the map and you're able to go find out if you're in a rural area or not. I'm going to end this podcast. We coming to a close because we just gave you a lot of information.
A lot.
And I want y'all to take the last part of this podcast because typically lasts, an hour or 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a 35-minute podcast today because what I want you to do is I want you to get off of this podcast or get off of this Facebook Live and go do the work.
Go do the work.
Go get your documents in order. Go look on the SBA's website. We posted the link to the SBA's website in our Facebook, on our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Go get this information and knowledge because